5 years into our marriage, Nathan had always been the picture of the perfect husband to everyone around us. The only flaw people saw was that he was a workaholic. But one day, that image shattered completely. It happened during a company retreat where we were playing a round of truth or dare. A new intern insisted that I join her in a little act. She wanted us to pretend we were drunk and call our partners to come pick us up. I agreed, thinking it was all in good fun. I called Nathan. But he did not even answer. After a few rings, the call ended. He left me with only one word in a message: busy. In that same moment, from the intern's phone, I heard a voice I knew too well. I am on my way to get you. I turned my head and looked at her. She was staring right back at me, her eyes full of challenge and mockery. In that instant, I realized my marriage had reached its end. I had decided to join the retreat at the last minute, after a long day filled with activities. I was already tired. All I wanted was to eat and go home. As I was sitting down, a girl squeezed in beside me. I was about to move over when someone nearby warned her, telling her not to crowd me because I was the VP. I gave a polite smile and said it was fine. We were there to relax and enjoy ourselves. The girl, Emily, was already sitting close. She was pretty, with large, bright eyes that made her seem innocent and friendly. I smiled and asked if she was new. She quickly reached out her hand and said she was the new intern and had just turned 21. I nodded, but before I could say more, she chirped, "Let's play truth or dare, VP Madison. You and I should set an example." Without waiting for my response, she picked up my phone and handed it to me with a confident look. "Come on, it is just a game," she said. I admired her boldness. She was fearless, like a young animal that did not know danger. Everyone was watching. So I did not want to ruin the atmosphere. I took the phone and asked her what we needed to do. She explained that we would pretend to be drunk and call our boyfriends to come get us. From her tone, I could sense a hidden pride and challenge. I realized the rumors were true. Young, daring workers were starting to appear everywhere. I called Nathan and put it on speaker. The people around us started to joke. They said Emily was brave for playing this game with me. They believed Nathan was the perfect husband who would drop everything and come running if I called. But instead of hearing his voice, my phone just beeped. Then the call cut off. Seconds later, I got a message from Nathan that simply said, "Busy." I laughed and admitted my loss. Emily's turn came next. She looked excited. Some colleagues gave her looks, silently warning her to stop. But she was too young to understand the subtle rules of the workplace. She called, and her voice turned sweet. "I am drunk. Can you come pick me up?" she asked. Then she tilted her head, looking right at me with a triumphant expression. I realized she was aiming at me, though I did not know why. I had never seen her before and did not have any personal connection with her. Then, from her phone, I heard a deep voice say, "I am coming to get you." That voice froze me in place. I knew it too well. It was Nathan. Emily ended the call, turned to me, and looked completely satisfied, like she had just won a game. In that moment, I understood everything. She was not there to create trouble in the office. She wanted to destroy my marriage. All I felt was a strange mix of anger and amusement. Nathan had ignored my call but picked up hers without a second thought. I had no time to feel the full weight of betrayal. I glanced at her phone and, with a small smile, reminded her, "You forgot to tell your boyfriend the address." I made sure to stress the word boyfriend. Emily looked at me, smiled as if I was a fool, and said, "Oh, right, thanks for reminding me." She opened her WeChat, found Nathan's contact, and sent him her location right there in front of me. She even tilted her phone slightly so I could see the contact name. Nathan had saved her as Sweetheart. Some of the people nearby began to look at Emily with confusion and suspicion. Even if they had not noticed her obvious attempt to provoke me, her eager effort to cozy up to the boss's boss already made her look foolish to everyone around us. She seemed clueless and socially awkward. Without me needing to say a word, this young intern was going to face a tough time at work, unless her so-called boyfriend stepped in to protect her. It was in that moment that the anger I had not had time to feel earlier started to burn slowly inside me. It flickered at first but grew stronger with every passing second. About 40 minutes later, the door to the private room opened. Emily, who had been talking loudly to get attention, looked up and her face immediately brightened. The others turned to see who had arrived, and then they stood up one after another. Someone laughed and said, "Who said our VP Madison lost? Look, Mr. Carter came to pick her up after all." VP Madison just never likes to make a scene. But if this were a real competition, who could beat her? Mr. Carter, you must have been worried about Madison, right? Nathan stepped inside with his usual gentle, polished smile and nodded politely to everyone. Then he walked straight over to me. His voice was low and warm, filled with the same care he always showed me. How much did you drink? He asked softly. He helped me stand, then turned to the group and said, Madison has a sensitive stomach. She will stop drinking now. I will take her home first. You all enjoy the rest of the evening. Don't worry, Mr. Carter. We will keep the party going. VP Madison, get some rest. Haha, look at that. Mr. Carter is so protective, someone called out. Another person explained, Mr. Carter, VP Madison really didn't drink much. We were just playing a round of truth or dare. Emily, you lost, so it is time for your penalty drink. I stood up and glanced at Emily. She was staring at Nathan with a pitiful expression, like a helpless little animal that had been wronged. It was almost laughable. I let out a soft chuckle. It was just a game. No need to take it so seriously. Go ahead and keep playing, or if you want, we can give you a ride home, I said. Emily pouted and finally looked away from Nathan. With forced determination, she replied, no need, I can get home by myself. I lost and I accept my punishment. She grabbed the glass in front of her and finished it in one gulp, then poured another. I will drink 3 more as punishment, she added. I tilted my head slightly and looked at Nathan. It was clear Emily was trying to act out, but Nathan did not look at her even once, from the moment he walked in and saw me. His eyes had never left me. When our eyes met, his expression stayed gentle. Let's go, I said. I said goodbye to everyone and left the room without another word. Nathan picked up my purse and followed me. Neither of us spoke on the way home. When we got inside, Nathan finally explained, Emily is the daughter of my college advisor. She is just interning at the company. My professor asked me to look after her. I took off my heels and walked toward the stairs. Let someone else look after her. Nathan, I said. All right. He replied. I paused at the first step, turned around, and looked down at him. Emily said she is your girlfriend. The contact name you saved for her in WeChat is Sweetheart. Tell me, how far have things gone between you two? Nathan's face darkened slowly. Don't talk nonsense. I am only helping her because she is my advisor's daughter. Then make it clear to her. Do not let her think she has any chance of coming between us. She is just a young girl who does not understand, I said. But Nathan, you should understand what boundaries mean for adults. I turned and went upstairs, walked straight into the bathroom, and then lay down on the bed and turned off the lights. Nathan came in and wrapped his arms around me from behind. Are you still mad? He asked softly. His long fingers slid under the hem of my nightgown and rested lightly on my lower belly. I am sorry I made you feel upset, he said. I only went to pick her up because she is young and new to work. I was worried something might happen to her, and I would not know how to explain it to her father, my professor. But you are not like her. You are Madison. You are strong. You would never let anything happen to yourself. I knew that being strong had always been my goal, to be powerful and invincible. But in that moment, the softest part of me stirred. I turned around and pressed my face into his chest. Nathan, I am still human. I have moments when I feel weak and vulnerable too, when I am tired and need comfort. The only person I want beside me is you, my husband, because I love you. Nathan held me tighter. I know. There will not be a next time. I will make things clear to her tomorrow. I will have her apologize to you. I nodded and whispered, okay. The next morning, after I finished a meeting, I returned to my office. Not long after, Nathan came in with Emily by his side. Nathan spoke calmly, telling her, Emily, apologize to your sister-in-law. Emily stepped toward me with a bright, sugary smile and said, sorry, sis. Last night was totally my fault. Please don't be mad at me, okay? You're older and wiser, so please don't hold a grudge against someone as young as me. She fluttered her eyelashes and added in a playful, sing-song voice, I say all sorts of silly things. Can't you just treat them as childish nonsense, sis? Nathan then reminded her, change the contact name, without any hesitation. Emily took out her phone and right in front of me changed Nathan's contact name from Sweetheart to Nathan. She held it up proudly and said, look, bro, sis, I changed it. It won't happen again. Nathan nodded and said, good, you can go back to work now. But Emily walked over to me and, acting overly familiar, bent down and linked her arm through mine. She said, "Nope, I still have so much to chat about with sis. You wouldn't get our girl talk anyway. Go on, leave us alone." Nathan frowned slightly. Emily then let go of my arm and casually draped it over my shoulder instead. Teasingly, she said, "What, are you worried I'll bully your wife? Am I really that scary? Besides, sis here has such a strong personality. She's older and more mature than me. How could I ever dare to bully her?" Just then, Nathan's phone rang. As always, he was busy. He said something brief to me, gave Emily a long, heavy look, and then left. Once the door closed, Emily quickly walked around and sat down across from me. She looked around my office and said, "Wow, this office is huge. You're really the career woman type, huh?" A wave of disgust rose in my chest, and I replied coldly, "I'm busy, please leave." Suddenly, Emily said, "I like Nathan." Without even looking up, I said, "I know, but I'm busy now, please leave." She seemed caught off guard by my calm response. After pausing for a moment, she asked, "I said I like Nathan. Aren't you going to react at all?" I almost laughed. I felt both speechless and amused. She was not the first woman to try to become Nathan's mistress. A man like Nathan, whether married or not, would always attract women. I had always known this, just as I knew there were plenty of men interested in me, too. Both Nathan and I were aware of this. But in the 5 years we had been married, neither of us had wavered. We always moved forward together. We could clearly see each other's effort and commitment to our marriage. But Emily was different, or at least, she thought she was. With a smirk, she asked, "You don't think I'm like those other women, do you?" Her voice carried the reckless confidence of someone too young to understand what she was truly facing. She still had that bold, headstrong energy that only someone inexperienced in the real world could have. "I'm not like those other women," Emily said confidently. "Let's make a bet. Give me 3 months. And I promise I'll win Nathan over. If I fail, I will leave and never see him again. But if you lose, you must divorce him and let me have him." She raised her eyebrows at me, challenging. "Do you dare?" I gave her a small smile and gently reminded her, "Your competition isn't me. It's all the other women who also want to be his mistress." Emily lifted her chin proudly. "Nathan doesn't like them. He likes you. He just doesn't like me yet. That's why I'm asking for 3 months. Do whatever you want," I said flatly, lowering my head and returning to my work, refusing to give her another second of my attention. "You'll see," she huffed before stomping out of my office. A surge of anger flared inside me. I tossed the file in my hand onto the desk. How could Nathan still not handle such a trivial problem? I picked up the internal line and told my assistant, "Jenna, from now on, don't let Emily come upstairs again." Jenna firmly replied, "Yes, Then she added, "She's just an intern. She doesn't have clearance to come up here anyway." Today was only because Mr. Carter brought her. Later that afternoon, Jenna came in suddenly and said, "VP Madison, Mr. Carter just exploded on the project team." I immediately stood up. "What happened?" Jenna hesitated for a moment and then said, "You should probably see for yourself." As I headed out, I heard her mutter under her breath, "It's all because of that Emily." I turned and looked at her. She looked like she wanted to say more but was holding it back. "If you have something to say, just say it," I encouraged her. Jenna bit her lip and said, "VP Madison, honestly, I figured it out last night at dinner." The call Emily made, it was to Mr. Carter. A lot of people noticed. A sharp pang struck my chest. Strangely, my first reaction was not anger but humiliation. Nathan needed to give me a proper resolution to this mess. After all, I was dragged into this embarrassment because of him. When I reached the project department, I could already hear Nathan's cold voice echoing down the hallway. "Do not ever let something like this happen again or all of you can leave." Yes, Nathan was furious. He was absolutely livid. But he never lost control or yelled just to make noise. Even in anger, his power came from his presence, not from shouting. When I walked in, I saw Emily gently tugging at Nathan's sleeve. She looked up at him with big eyes and said, "Please don't be mad, Nathan. I am fine. They would not have picked on me for no reason, right?" Nathan turned to her, and then his gaze shifted to me. He walked over slowly, his face cold and sharp, in front of everyone. He announced, "From now on, Emily will be my special assistant." Emily's face lit up. "Oh," she chirped happily, then hurried off to gather her things. Nathan turned back to face the entire department. Did everyone hear me clearly? The room was packed, and no one dared to lift their head. Voices answered in unison. Yes, Mr. Carter, we understand. A few minutes later, Emily returned, clutching her belongings and smiling brightly at Nathan. I am ready, let's go upstairs, she said, but Nathan did not look at her. Instead, he turned his eyes to me again, his gaze steady and impossible to read. You go first, he said to Emily. Then he looked at me and said, come to your office, I need to talk to you. I looked away and spoke to the room. It's all right, everyone, go back to work. But with Nathan still standing there, no one dared to move. I repeated firmly, it was my mistake for overreacting. You all can go back to work now. Only then did people slowly start to sit down. I looked at the department manager and said, I am still waiting for your revised proposal. After that, I turned and walked out, with Nathan following me closely to my office. Once inside, he closed the door and finally spoke. I told you before, Emily is just my professor's daughter. I took care of her out of respect for him. There is no need to make things so difficult for a young girl who just started working, he said. I sat down in my chair and asked in a cold voice, difficult? How exactly did I make things difficult for her? Nathan stepped forward but did not sit down. If it was not because of something you said, why would the project team target an intern? This company does not allow workplace bullying, especially not from you. This is the first time, and because you are my wife as well as the VP, I will let it go, he said, tapping his finger on my desk 3 times as a clear warning. But there will not be a second time. I felt my breath catch. But I still laughed softly. No second time. And what if there is? Will you hit me, or divorce me? I asked. Madison, Nathan began, but I interrupted him. First, I never told anyone to bully her. Second, at dinner, Emily said she was calling her boyfriend, and you answered the call. Everyone in the department heard it. They were protecting me. You already overreacted just now. Please do not punish them further, I said, leaning back in my chair. Accusing me without checking the facts was your first mistake. I continued, staring straight into his eyes. Let me say this back to you. There will not be a second time. Then I lowered my voice. Nathan, I do not want Emily as your assistant. That single sentence was enough. Nathan opened his mouth to say something, but I stopped him again. Leave, I am busy. He looked at me silently for a few moments, then turned and left. My chest rose and fell quickly. I had never felt so furious in my life. But I was not angry at Emily. I was angry that Nathan allowed Emily to make me feel this way. I could not focus on the documents in front of me. I hated this feeling deeply. I needed to end this completely. There would not be a second time, because if it happened again, I would not continue living like this. I, Madison Shin, would not allow myself to be mistreated, not even a little, no matter how much I loved him. But maybe Nathan was no longer someone worth loving. That thought rose from deep inside my heart, and it scared me. I resisted it a little, wishing none of this had ever happened. A few minutes later, my office door suddenly burst open. Emily came in crying, her face red with anger. Madison Shin, she shouted, who gave you the right to stop me from being Nathan's assistant? What are you so afraid of? You were the one who told them to bully me. I looked past her at Nathan, who had followed her inside. Nathan Carter, I said calmly, is this really something you cannot handle? She is your employee. She has no right to enter my office without permission. You should not need me to teach her this. Get her out of here. I do not want my work disturbed. Nathan's face turned colder than I had ever seen before. For the first time, his eyes looked at me like they were made of ice. Emily, that is enough. Go back to work, he said. He gave me one last look before turning away. Emily still had tears on her cheeks, but her lips curled into a smug smile. The look of triumph was clear. Then, out of nowhere, she said, since you do not like me, sis, I guess I will just leave. Nathan's voice came out low and emotionless. You are my assistant. You do not need anyone to like you, he said coldly. Emily's voice trembled. Nathan, please do not say that. I know I have already brought trouble to you and your wife. I will leave now. She covered her mouth with her hand and ran out in tears. Nathan turned back from the doorway and looked at me. I met his eyes without flinching. I called Jenna, and she came over right away to close the door, cutting off our gaze. A burning anger rose in my chest, stronger than ever. In that moment, I realized Nathan was no longer worth loving. I was no longer afraid of this thought. and I did not push it away. I picked up my phone and called my personal attorney. That night, Nathan did not come home. In the 5 years we had been married, except for business trips, this was the first time he stayed out all night. I lay alone in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. I felt a mix of sadness and heartbreak. But more than anything, I felt angry and unwilling to accept it. What gave Nathan the right to make me suffer like this? Who did he think he was? Just a husband. What right did he have to make me feel so wronged? If this husband did not work out, I could always find a new one or simply live without one. A husband was not something I could not live without. I forced myself to lie still and close my eyes, but I barely slept at all. The next morning, when I got up and saw my tired face in the mirror, my resentment toward Nathan grew even stronger. Still, I had to go to work. There were too many responsibilities waiting for me at the company. I put on perfect makeup, dressed sharply, and arrived at the office looking confident and radiant. During the meeting, I finally saw Nathan. His expression was cold, and it was obvious he was in a terrible mood. I only glanced at him once before sitting down without saying a word. When the meeting ended, I stood up and walked out directly. We did not exchange a single word from start to finish. At noon, Jenna brought me lunch. She hesitated and said, "VP Madison, people have been talking." I nodded calmly and said, "I know, everyone could see Nathan and I were not getting along, and it was bound to affect the company. But I did not care. This was Carter Group. I had joined after marrying Nathan because his father had passed away and his mother was in poor health. Nathan, like me, was an only child. My parents were still healthy, and my own company did not need me to step in yet. So I came here. That had always been the arrangement with the Carter family. As for shares, the two companies naturally had connected interests. But I only held 3% of Carter Group's shares. If we divorced, I could easily sell them and buy back the 3% of Shun Group shares Nathan owned. It was simple. Whether our companies would continue to cooperate after the divorce did not matter to me. Nathan and I might not be able to live as a couple anymore, but we still worked well together in business. That thought gave me an unexpected sense of relief. Of course, my lawyer still needed some time to sort out the assets under both our names, but I was not in a hurry. To me, Nathan was now just a business partner. That afternoon, I suddenly got a call from an unknown number. To my surprise, it was Nathan's former professor and Emily's father, Mr. James Song. He said his daughter had caused me trouble recently and invited both Nathan and me over for dinner that evening. I agreed without hesitation. A child's poor behavior was the parent's responsibility. Mr. Song owed me a proper apology face to face. At exactly 5 in the evening, Nathan knocked on my office door. He said, "Let's go." I quickly packed up, grabbed my bag, and followed him out. In the car, I kept looking out of the window, and Nathan stayed silent. I thought he must really be in love with Emily by now. Otherwise, he would not treat me with such coldness. It hurt, of course, but what I felt most strongly was the refusal to lose. I had always been competitive since I was a child. I could not stand being defeated in any part of my life, and this was no different. When the car stopped, I opened the door myself and stepped out. This time, I followed Nathan as we walked toward the house. Jenna was texting me work updates, so I kept my head down, reading her messages while walking. Suddenly, Nathan reached out to steady me. He said softly, "Careful, you are off work now. You should not be checking emails." I did not reply. I finished my messages and finally put my phone away. Nathan stayed silent after that. When we arrived at Emily's house, she opened the door. The moment she saw Nathan, she lowered her head like a child who had been scolded. Her father, James Song, and his wife were already sitting on the couch. "Nathan, you are here. Madison, please sit down," James said warmly. Nathan handed over the gifts we brought. The housekeeper had already set the table for dinner. At the table, James looked at me and said, "Madison, our daughter Emily has been spoiled by us. She truly does not know any better. Please do not take it to heart. Today, she refused to go back to work no matter what we said. She cried so much, and my wife and I felt so bad for her. That is why we asked Nathan to look after her. Otherwise, we would worry too much if she was on her own." I gave a polite smile. "Honestly, Mr. Song, your daughter might not be the best fit for working in an office, with the way you have raised her. Maybe it is better for her to stay at home where she can feel safe and comfortable. The workplace today is not kind. No one will treat her the way you do. Nathan called my name softly, a warning in his voice. I looked at him calmly and smiled. I am only saying this for the professor and his wife. James gave a small, awkward laugh. I kept smiling politely. I know what people say about me. They think I have a strong sense of social class. Maybe it is because, to many people, I represent power and money. My parents always protected me. They never let me suffer or feel wronged. So it is hard for me to accept anyone acting superior just because they are older or think they have higher status. I ignored Nathan's look and turned back to James. Honestly, I thought this dinner was meant to apologize for your daughter's behavior. When a child does something wrong, the responsibility lies with the parents. Your daughter tried to become a mistress. Nathan spoke in a low voice, telling me to stop, but I continued as if I did not hear him. It is not just your daughter's fault. I pointed at Nathan. He is even more to blame. I pushed back my chair and stood up. I will not stay for dinner. It is not that I do not appreciate your kindness. I am just not used to this kind of food. Please enjoy. I gave them a gentle smile and left with my purse, leaving everyone at the table silent and embarrassed. Nathan followed me into the elevator. His voice was low but filled with anger. Madison, you went too far, I answered calmly. You said there was nothing going on between you and Emily. Then why did you not come home last night? Why did you stay silent on the way here? Nathan's voice was sharp. Because you were wrong. Oh, I looked at him with interest. What exactly was I wrong about? Did I falsely accuse you of having feelings for another woman? Nathan, do not tell me you did not notice Emily's feelings for you. If you really did not, check the office cameras. The day you left, she confessed. She said she liked you and even bet me that she could win you over. I let out a laugh. You did not come home. You ignored me. Was that your way of punishing me? Nathan, let me ask you, between me and the professor's family, who is more important to you? I will not say I have never made mistakes, but with Emily, I did nothing wrong. She provoked me first. As my husband, even if I am wrong, you should stand by me. You do not get to judge between us as if you are fair and neutral. There is no middle ground here. You should always choose me. Nathan gave a short laugh. So you just want me to side with you no matter what? He looked at me, his eyes cold. Madison, you are not a child anymore. Stop being so unreasonable. Even as your husband, I will not support you blindly. That is not how I live my life, I said flatly. I shrugged. That is fine. I do not expect you to, if you will not stand with me. There are many others who will, and even if no one does, I will stand by myself. When the elevator doors opened, I stepped out quickly. The driver was waiting downstairs. He called out when he saw me leaving without getting in the car. I ignored him. Behind me, I heard Nathan say in a low voice, "Do not stop her. Let her go." I went straight back to my own place. My parents knew me well. As soon as they saw me, they asked if Nathan and I had fought. My dad laughed lightly. Nathan actually argued back. That is rare. What happened? Tell us. I dropped down on the couch, crossed my legs, and let go of the strong image I kept up outside. At home, I could be myself. I never hid bad news to protect my pride, whether good or bad. I always shared everything. After I told them everything, both my parents agreed that Nathan was in the wrong. I did not think Nathan could be so foolish, my dad muttered. Then he looked at my mom. Is this that 7-year itch? Just early at 5 years. Young people really have no patience now. I did not like hearing that, but before I could say anything, my mom interrupted sharply. Madison is younger than him. How come she is not the one losing interest? Cheating is cheating. Even if he did not do it physically, he has already left her emotionally. My dad coughed and said softly, "Let us hear how Madison feels first." I looked at them and said clearly, "I want a divorce. I already talked to my lawyer." Their faces turned serious. "Have you really decided?" "Madison," my mom asked, "we do not want you to suffer, but we also do not want you to act on impulse." "It is not impulsive," I said firmly. "I want a divorce. I do not love Nathan anymore. When I fall out of love, it happens fast and completely. I am very sensitive when it comes to relationships. I have absolutely no tolerance for any kind of betrayal, whether it is physical or emotional." My dad nodded slowly and said, "If that is how you feel, leave it to me." I quickly stopped him. "Dad, do not go talk to him. I have already made up my mind. If you go, it will look like I am still not over him." My dad huffed. "Who said I was going to talk to him?" I pressed my lips together and looked at him seriously. Just promise me you will not. He sighed and replied, okay, do not worry. I know what I am doing. I rubbed my stomach and realized I had not eaten yet. Dinner was ready, so I sat down with my parents and ate quietly. After dinner, I went upstairs to my room. That night, I still did not sleep well. But the next morning, I arrived at the office full of energy. Jenna came in and said, VP Madison, Mr. Carter left on a business trip yesterday. He did not say when he would return. I nodded calmly. So he really did not come home. Let him stay away then. On the third day of Nathan's trip, Emily tried to arrange a meeting with me. I refused at first, but she still showed up at the company and waited for me. I finally agreed to hear what she had to say. With a smug smile, she said, Nathan is not really on a trip, he just wants to live separately from you. He told me he would not be back for 2 weeks. Madison Shin, you lost. According to our bet, you have to divorce him and give him to me. Throughout this entire mess, the person who disappointed me most was Nathan, but Emily truly did not know when to stop. I looked at her coldly and said, this is between me and Nathan. Stay out of it. Emily raised an eyebrow and said, you are not my mother. Why should I listen to you? It was clear she had never been taught a real lesson by life. I let out a small laugh. Have you ever heard the saying, when gods fight, mortals suffer? I leaned in slightly. This is between Nathan and me. Emily only smiled wider. Even if you two are gods, if someone like me can start a war between you, that is my skill, right? I looked at her for a few seconds, quietly observing the triumph in her eyes. Then I nodded. Fine, if you insist on involving yourself, I will not stop you. Just do not regret it later. After leaving Emily, I returned to my office and made a call. I asked someone to run a background check on James Song, Emily's father. I had nothing to hide. I just wanted to understand the full picture. While I was on the phone, the door to my office suddenly opened. A familiar figure walked in, someone I did not expect to see. What are you doing here? Did you even make an appointment? I asked. Zachary Xiao came in with his usual smirk. Uncle Shen brought me personally. Who would dare stop me? I was surprised. Where is he? Why did he send you? Zach sat on the edge of my desk and said, he asked me to be your new personal assistant. He wants you to take care of me. You have always had me tagging along anyway, so why not make it official? So my dad had made his move, as expected. He was always one step ahead. I already know everything, Zach said confidently, patting his chest. Leave it to me. There is nothing I cannot handle. I will make sure you and Nathan get divorced and make him really angry in the process. I gave a dry laugh. I believe you can. But Nathan is not in the office right now. Keep a low profile for a few days. Do not annoy me. Zach snorted. Ever since you married that Carter guy, you have been ignoring me. Now that you are finally getting divorced, I am here to collect on the 5 years you owe me. I rolled my eyes. Get out and stop bothering me. Honestly, my dad had chosen the perfect person. Zach was indeed skilled at this kind of thing. In just a few days, he was already stirring things up at the office. The company group chat was full of his jokes and antics. Nathan, who was supposed to return in 2 weeks, came back after just 1 week. When he walked into my office, Zach was lying on the couch playing games on his phone. Nathan shot him a sharp look and said coldly, leave. Zach paused his game and walked over to my side. Sis, he is scary, he said dramatically. I am afraid of Mr. Carter. I felt a bit speechless too. Nathan's expression was stiff, like a volcano about to erupt. Madison, he said in a tense voice, ask him to leave. I need to talk to you. I am not leaving. Zach said as he scooted even closer to me. I am her personal assistant now. Uncle Shen put me here so Madison would look after me. Why are you talking to me like that? I cannot stand being treated unfairly. Nathan let out a low, humorless laugh. Madison Shen, is this your way of getting back at me? His voice turned even colder. Do you even know what people are saying in the company group chat? Zach tilted his head and replied playfully. Probably the same things they said about you and Emily, except now it is me and Madison. But they should know better, he added with a smirk. Madison is not that kind of person. Nathan looked like he wanted to argue, but before he could say a word, Zach cut him off again. But I am that kind of person, he said proudly. I want to come between you two. I want to be the other man. I want to be Madison's partner. Nathan did not seem to take Zach's words seriously at all. Zach's face suddenly lost its usual playful look, and for once, he looked truly serious. It was a rare moment of sincerity from him. I have liked Madison since we were kids, always, Zach said firmly. Nathan, if I had not been too young to get married back then, you would never have had a chance with her. He stepped closer to Nathan, his expression determined. But now I am an adult, I can get married, so I will say this clearly. I want to be Madison's husband. You should get a divorce and stop standing in my way. Nathan's fist shot out toward Zach's face without warning. I jumped up and rushed over, but Zach caught Nathan's punch before it landed. I pushed Nathan back hard. What are you doing? Nathan no longer looked calm. The usual warmth in his expression was gone, replaced by raw anger and frustration. Did you not hear what he just said? Nathan shouted. I heard him, I answered calmly, a faint and almost careless smile on my lips, but my father asked me to look after him, so, you are not allowed to hit him. Nathan finally realized what was happening. So, this is your revenge, is it, Madison? I told you there is nothing between me and Emily. He looked at Zach, his eyes filled with anger and disbelief. But Zach did not take him seriously at all. Zach had grown up spoiled, fearless, and always did whatever he wanted without caring about rules or people's opinions. I did not want them to start a fight in my office. I patted Zach on the shoulder. Go wait outside for now. Got it, Zach replied cheerfully. He gave me a sweet smile and threw Nathan a teasing look before strolling out of the room. Nathan took a deep breath. Madison, let us talk this through about Emily and me. Nathan, let us get a divorce. I cut him off before he could continue. I did not want to hear any more. I did not love him anymore, not at all. A look of exhaustion crossed Nathan's face. Do not say things you do not mean. I know you are upset about Emily, but our lawyer is almost done handling the assets. I interrupted him again. Once that is finished, we will file the papers. Only then did it truly sink in for Nathan. I was not acting on a whim. I had already contacted the lawyer a long time ago. His voice shook with disbelief. Just because of something so small. Small, I laughed coldly. If it was so small, why did you just try to punch him? Nathan clenched his fists. I know nothing happened physically between me and Emily, but in the way you handled it, you stood with her, you let me be humiliated. That is enough reason for a divorce. What is so hard to understand about that? Nathan's voice softened. Madison, I do not have a father. My mentor has always treated me like a son. He is like a father to me. He is not your father, I said firmly, cutting him off. If he were really your father, I would have never married you. He does not like me, and I do not like him either. What I wanted was to be the most important person in your life, more important than anyone else. I looked directly at him. I did that. What about you, Nathan? His dark eyes wavered, and he stayed silent. Maybe you still think this is a small thing, I continued. But you gave me the cold shoulder for Emily. You lost your temper at me. You humiliated me in front of the project team and even your driver. You ignored me during meetings on purpose. I took a deep breath, trying to hold back my anger. You wanted to teach me a lesson. Well, thank you. I have learned it. And I am done. Nathan's face filled with panic. He reached out to grab my hand. Madison, please. Madison Shun, always aim for the best in everything I do. Back then, you were the best in my heart. That is why I married you. But now, you are no longer the best. To me, you are worthless. That is why I want a divorce. I pulled my hand away and walked past him without turning back. Nathan went to my family's house to find me. I refused to see him. My parents did not allow him to explain either. You do not need to say anything. I called out coldly from behind the door. Since your mentor and his daughter are so important to you, go be with them. My father blocked the doorway and said firmly, Madison has people who care about her, too. Do you think this feels good, Nathan? Nathan closed his eyes in frustration. Sir, I truly have learned my lesson. I know I hurt Madison, and I feel terrible, but I do not want a divorce. I cannot let her go. I really love her. You have seen how I treated her all these years. I just made one mistake. Please help me talk to her. Give me one more chance. One mistake. My mother's voice turned sharp. You still think this was just a small mistake? You chose an outsider over Madison. You let her get hurt and called that a small mistake. My father shouted in anger. Hearing their voices, I quietly closed my bedroom door, shutting out the noise. In that moment, I felt truly clear-headed. My parents were the only ones who had always stood by me. They would never side with outsiders, never team up against me, and never humiliate me like that. In the days that followed, I stopped going to the Carter group. Nathan did not go back either. Instead, he stood outside my house every day, waiting. I never stepped out to see him, not even once. Then one day, I got a call. The investigation I ordered was finished. If Emily wanted so badly to throw herself into this battle, then fine. I would let her have it. James Song had treated Nathan very well, but that did not mean it had nothing to do with Nathan being from the Carter family. When it came to average students, his attitude was completely different. He not only stole their research and claimed it as his own, but he also abused his power to pressure female students, all while pretending to be a supportive mentor. Those girls had no choice but to endure it if they wanted to graduate. That was when the Shun family name became useful. Once we stepped in, those students finally stopped staying silent. The situation quickly grew, and the school could no longer cover it up. That was when James Song reached out to me. As I left the house to meet him, Nathan was still standing outside. Just seeing him irritated me. Forgiving him was no longer even a possibility. I drove past him without saying a word. At the private club where we were supposed to meet, I arrived first. Even though James was the one asking for help, he showed up late. Before he arrived, someone else appeared first. It was Nathan. Madison, please give me 10 minutes, he pleaded. Let me say what is on my mind. His voice was hurried and full of desperation. I know I hurt you because of Emily. I admit I was wrong. You can think whatever you want about me. But could you see this as my first mistake? Could you give me another chance? He sat beside me and reached for my hand. Please. We have been married for 5 years. You know what kind of person I have been these 5 years. You know I love you. I really do. He continued talking about Emily. I knew from the beginning that she liked me, but I still decided to help her because I believed I could stay faithful to you and handle her feelings. But Madison, I am only human. I have moments of weakness too. I swear this is the first and last time. Please forgive me. Let me make it up to you. Give me a chance to prove myself. I looked at him quietly and said, who told you that being human means you are allowed to be weak? I was not weak. After marrying you, I gave you all of me. Even now, I can face my feelings honestly. I loved you deeply and passionately. I paused and then emphasized, loved. That is in the past, Nathan. Because now, I do not care whether you love me or not. I do not love you anymore. His eyes turned red and filled with tears. He could not accept it. Just because I slipped up once, he asked. I nodded. Yes, just because of that. I told you before, Madison Shun always wants the best. And now, you are no longer the best. There are plenty of men in this world. If one disappoints me, I can find another. And if I do not, that is fine too. It is not a big deal. I looked straight at him. Nathan Carter, I want a divorce. My decision is final. At that moment, the door to the private room swung open. James Song came in, dragging Emily behind him. As soon as he saw Nathan, he looked relieved. Nathan, help me convince Madison. Please do not let the school expel me. Emily pouted and crossed her arms, clearly unhappy. Nathan, talk to your wife. She is being so childish, all this over something so small. But Nathan interrupted her with a cold voice. Emily, you have no right to speak about my wife. I stood up, tired of the scene. You three talk it out. I am leaving. James quickly stepped forward to block my way. Madison, please help us talk to the school. I let out a cold laugh. Your daughter said it herself. She is not afraid to start fights among gods, she said. If a mortal like me can make gods fight, that proves my value. I turned to Emily. Is that not right? Emily's face turned bright red with shame. I brushed past James and walked out without hesitation. Nathan ran after me. But behind us came the sharp sound of a slap and James's angry shout. Have I spoiled you too much? Nathan still refused to sign the divorce papers. He even had his mother come and beg me. But my heart was already set. I did not love him anymore. Once our assets were divided, I filed for divorce. But Nathan still would not agree. In the end, I had to arrange for someone to drag him to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Nathan Carter, if you do not sign, they will witness it and file it as your consent anyway, I said. The clerk stepped forward and tried to stop me. Sorry, that is not allowed. Stay out of it, I snapped. Whether I get a divorce is my business. I want out, and that is final. No one gets to interfere. The clerk looked very uncomfortable. It goes against civil code. Screw your code, I said, glaring. I am getting a divorce. I turned to Nathan, my voice cold. Sign the paper. I do not love you anymore. If you keep dragging this out, it is just pathetic. Do you want me to be so disgusted that I gag at the sight of you before you finally sign? With trembling hands, Nathan picked up the pen. His voice shook. All right, I will sign. He wrote his name, tears streaming down his face, and what right did he have to cry? I had never cried during all those countless sleepless nights. Now he was the one feeling sorry for himself. That is it, right? I asked, my voice calm. I was no longer angry, just indifferent. I turned to the clerk. Is it done? The clerk did not say a word. They stamped the documents and handed me my divorce certificate. I took it and walked out without looking back. Nathan followed behind me. Madison, he called after me, I still cannot accept that we divorced over one mistake. But I know I made you feel hurt and betrayed. It was my fault. But could you give me another chance to win you back? Do not throw everything away because of one mistake, please. At that moment, Zachary suddenly spoke from nearby. A good horse never turns back. There are so many men in this world. Madison, why should he get a second chance? He did not cherish you the first time, and that is entirely his fault. If you gave him another chance, it would not be fair to me. Zach wrapped his arm around mine and said, let's go. We have talked enough with him. In the car, Zach leaned closer to me and spoke softly. Sis, now that you are divorced, why not consider giving me a chance? You need a man in your life anyway, so why can't that man be me? Even if one day I ended up like Nathan and you decided to leave me, I promise I would not cling to you like he does. I would not make you feel disgusted. Just look at him now, so desperate and pathetic. There are so many good men out there. Why waste your time on someone like him? I pushed Zach out of the car and said firmly, get out. Then I told the driver, let's go. A few days later, Nathan came to see me again. He handed me a stock transfer agreement and said, these are the Shun Group shares. They are yours now, and the 3% you hold in Carter Group, keep it. It was always meant to be yours. I took the agreement and signed it right away without any hesitation. If he did not want anything, that was fine. I was not going to force him. But I would keep the Carter shares because he was the one who ruined everything, and I had every right to them. That is it. I said calmly, you can leave now. Nathan's eyes turned red again. Madison, I know you do not love Zach, but you do not love me either. I looked at him with clear disdain and said, I especially do not love you. I waved my hand, telling him to leave. Do not bother me again. He stared at me for a moment, then finally turned and started to walk away. At the door, he stopped and looked back. James' song has been fired. Emily did not pass her internship. I have completely cut ties with them. I will not see them again. I stayed silent. Only then did Nathan finally leave. Back at Shun Group, Jenna came into my office and said, Madison, Nathan Carter just left. I answered calmly, do not let him in again. If I run into him in public, that is fine. But here, in my space, he will never step foot again. Miss once, and you are out forever. That is my rule. The same goes for love. There are so many men in the world. If there is love, I will treat it seriously. If there is no love, I will enjoy it for what it is. But whether it is love or just fun, Nathan Carter will never have a place in my life again because he is no longer the best, and I, Madison Shin, deserve only the best. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories. We'll see you in the next video.